The exit from the euro is almost inevitable if Syriza comes to power. Well, why is that? Does that mean that Europe has become sens unique, one-way street to reactionary politics? No. Merkel's position is absurd and ridiculous, and it reeks of her own submission and propitiation of the Anglo-American party power apparatus. What can we call it? All right. So here we have Hollande bucking NATO, CIA, City of London, Wall Street, you name it, Obama, Cameron, the entire crew. What is this? It's France, once again. Have the institutions designed by de Gaulle, have they achieved yet another victory over a mediocre politician such as Hollande has been? Remember, those institutions, right, when you take up your residence in the Élysée Palace, you are gripped by complexes of interests and of bureaucracy, right? The French civil service, all those people from the École Nationale de l'Administration, right? The School of Administration, one of the elite grandes écoles of France. So I think something like this has happened. He's been captured to some extent by de Gaulle's institutions. De Gaulle dead is more powerful than Hollande alive, but Hollande alive can stay alive thanks to the institutions left behind by de Gaulle. And then, of course, the fact that Hollande's popularity had collapsed. He's down to Jimmy Carter, George W. Bush levels, 20%, 15% sometimes. So he's got to do something. So it looked to me like that 2-hour interview was signaling a change of course, that something very different was going to happen, and now you see it, right? That it's enough with these sanctions, and if you destroy 2,000 to 3,000 jobs in the French shipbuilding sector, then that essentially seals your doom. And you're doing that for what? For the Anglo-Americans? And what have they done for you lately? So now we have this terror event, and I'll just jump to the chase. We'll see how much time we have to continue this. The big winner, of course, in these shootings and killings in Paris is the demagogue Marine Le Pen, the Vichysoise. Her pedigree comes straight from Marshal Pétain and the Vichy government, because her father, this old character, right, Jean-Marie Le Pen, was an official. He was a supporter of the Vichy government of old Marshal Pétain. So it's this kind of element that we're seeing. The Front National, Le Pen, really scurrilous attempt to scapegoat foreigners for the depression created by bankers, a new low, right? And we know where that method comes from, right? Who is most famous for scapegoating a minority, blaming them for the depression? We know who that was. We don't even have to say it. You know who. So this is what it is. So, and of course, she's now attempting to turn this to her advantage. There's supposed to be a unity march in Paris on Sunday, this coming. That would be the 11th. And we got all kinds of people there. Renzi of Italy is going to go there. The Spanish Prime Minister is going to go there. People, all kinds of heads of government, heads of state from all over Europe are going to be there. There's also going to be an interior ministers meeting. That is to say, police ministers. You're going to have Eric Holder. You're going to have Cazeneuve as the host, and so forth. And they're talking about the Union Sacrée. The Union Sacrée is the all-party government, right? The national coalition that includes everybody. Well, last time you had that was 1914 to 1918. 3 million dead. I don't recommend that. But Le Pen has already made sure that this is unlikely. She wants to make it look like she was not invited, so she's been insulted, and she says that's the end of unity. You can forget the whole thing. We urge Hollande to stick to the course that he began in this France Inter interview, and that is to say, argue impose, unilaterally make real the collapse of the sanctions regime against Russia. This is absurd and obsolete. And go to Astana on the 15th and put this Poroshenko in his place. We need the France that can say no. This was a great tradition, that de Gaulle could say no. He could say, when NATO came to General de Gaulle with orders, the answer was very often no. Another term is l'exception française. France is exceptional. It has a special idea of itself, and it can therefore play an absolutely valuable and indeed indispensable role in the cultural and political life of the Western world. The other thing, of course, we have to note is the idiocy, the insignificance, intellectually, morally, of the left liberals who really don't understand anything. I would say right now we've had a couple of these intelligence community stunts or operations, I guess I'd have to say. We've had the interview. We discussed that in previous weeks, right, with the Rand Corporation and the intelligence community behind Sony, with the connections through Amy Pascal, and now we've got Charlie Hebdo. And what was Charlie Hebdo? Charlie Hebdo was a group at the beginning in the late 1950s and early 1960s, around 1960 when it was created. In the early years of the de Gaulle regime, it was a bunch of ex-Vichy sympathizers who set up a magazine called Harry Carey against General de Gaulle. So now, realness. We'll be back in a minute.
Hi, this is Larry Smith. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Like when the jeweler ruined my ring and wouldn't do anything about it. But when my Legal Shield attorney called him and told him what my rights were, I received a check for over $2,100. Worry less and live more with lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com, or call 855-340-SAVE. Again, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
Mom, I can't do my math homework. I just don't get it. I hate math.
I've always tried to be a good mother, but when it came to Jamie's math, I was at a loss. Then a friend told me about Math Made Easy DVDs. Concepts are simplified in an easy way to follow and review, and students can learn at their own pace in the convenience of home. Listen, in the frustration, call Math Made Easy. Call now, 1-800-USA-MATH. That's 1-800-872-6284. Or visit us at mathmadeeasy.com.
Did you know by age 50, half of all men have an enlarged prostate? This means more urges to urinate, longer bathroom trips, waking at night to urinate, or issues with sex. If this sounds familiar, call us now, because we're shipping free bottles of Super Beta Prostate to listeners of this station. Super Beta Prostate is a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's yours free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-630-3973. In clinical trials, the ingredient in Super Beta Prostate was shown to reduce urges to urinate, improve bladder emptying, reduce waking at night to urinate, and improve quality of life. This Super Beta Prostate free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Don't wait. Just call 1-800-630-3973. That's 1-800-630-7973. Call 1-800-630-3973.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason! Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with with the host you're listening to right now. Online at GCNlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at GCNlive.com.
Yeah? Did you want to see me, sir? Well, I did, but now that I do, I'm not so sure. Sir? Johnson, I got a mission for you that could change your life. Oh, good, sir. It involves traveling halfway around the world without so much as half a clue of where you're going or what you're going to do when you get there. Situation normal, sir? Right, I'll be leading this mission, Johnson, so I'll be telling you what to do. You, sir? That's right, Johnson, and I say first things first. Oh, good plan, sir. And what I say is first is food. Always remember that, Johnson. Food is a big deal. Sir, my brother-in-law can get us a really good deal on some surplus MREs. Johnson, if you've got half a brain and that empty head of yours, you'll call the freeze-dry guy like I did. That food is better for you, it rehydrates faster, and it's good, Johnson. And it keeps for up to 30 years. Will we be gone that long, sir? I hope not. Now get your supplies organized and meet me down to the pier at dawn on Sunday. We sail at sunrise. Yes, sir.
This adventure is brought to you by the Freeze-Dry Guy. Call 866-404-3663 or visit freezedryguy.com.
GCN, proudly sponsored by UnseenNow.com. Find out how to stop Big Brother in his tracks at UnseenNow.com. This is GCN.
I have to announce that for the second week in a row, the prison authorities at the Jackson State Prison in Michigan have refused our request, the request of this program and the GCN network to interview Reverend Pinckney, who is now becoming one of the most prominent political prisoners here in the United States, right, held incommunicado once again this week by the prison authorities. We've been in touch with the warden's office, we believe, and the answer was it's not going to happen today, right? Because you have to go through a procedure to allow Reverend Pinckney to call out. So we're doing whatever we can to keep this in the public eye, and certainly we know next week on the 15th of January there's going to be the final sentencing event, the sentencing hearing, I guess, which the prison authorities and this local clique, right? We know the sheriff, Paul Bailey, the county commissioner, other people, right? This whirlpool operation, it's all under the aegis of Congressman Fred Upton and his corrupt whirlpool Wall Street political machine, largest appliance manufacturer in the world. They would like to have that sentencing hearing secret. Executive session behind closed doors. Well, what is that? Where does that fit into the U.S. Legal tradition? Nowhere. This is an absolute monstrosity. So if you're going to do it in open court and do it in front of the glaring publicity of world public opinion, which is now more and more focused on Barbarian County, Michigan, and this operation with all white juries and jury pools that are packed with close cronies of the prosecutor, Mr. Sepik, and others. So we're going to try that again next week. So, but in the meantime, keep up the pressure on the Michigan prison authorities and keep this issue in front of the public on social media, especially as we build up to the 15th of January. Now, just a couple of concluding things about these French events. First of all, we can sum it up, right? It's the 15th of January in Astana, where Hollande could play an absolutely critical role. There's also going to be, we think, a Syria conference in Moscow at the end of January, where the French would obviously also play a role. There are also stories now that Foreign Minister Fabius, who has a bad record, is going to be dumped under the pretext of health reasons. So that might be another sign of a shift, that Hollande had figured out that he was going nowhere, that the Anglo-Americans had led him down the garden path, and they were going to then dump him. So that's maybe what he wanted to turn away from. General ideas about the French